So, this entire Amari Cooper situation is getting more irritating as time passes on. And look, I understand that we can have our certain feelings on Amari, whether, the certain circumstances that happened during the season irritated you or his product on the field. Like, we can have those discussions, but I think the biggest thing, and I think a lot of people are missing the point with this Amari Cooper situation, is that this is a front office debacle in the sense of how they build the team. And I'm a very big live by your word type of type of guy, unless, you want to change how you do things and admit that you were wrong, but of course they won't do that. But we're going to talk about the Amari Cooper situation, like how certain circumstances how I would feel on it, and just a mini mock draft that I did in a simulation. Now, I'm not going to do all the spectacle stuff like I do in the regular mock drafts, but the next mock I do on Monday will be a Amari Cooper trade simulation. So just keep your eyes posted on that. But before I go any further, if you guys could like this video, that'd be great. Doesn't take too long to do, and it helps the channel out immensely in YouTube's algorithm. Subscribe if you're new. There's a 60% chance that you are not subscribed to this channel. And if you want more Dallas Cowboys content, by all means, make sure to do that. And hit that notification bell, because by doing that, you'll get notified when the newest content drops. So, with that being said, Amari Cooper is currently in a situation to where if he is cut right now, the Cowboys would save $16 million and become over the cap. They would not have to worry about any other moves being made in the sense of, okay, we need to get cap space. But, I've stressed this a lot. It's easy to get out of salary cap situations like this, but the Joneses try to pull these BS narratives between, oh, this player is getting paid too much, or, oh, we're not using this player enough to justify the... this is a multi-layered issue, and I could go on for 30 minutes talking about this, but I want to keep it as close as I can to talking about Amari Cooper, okay? So the first thing is that you have 3 more years with Amari Cooper, and as long as you don't restructure the contract, he is able to be cut and save money. We now are in that ejection period portion of the Amari Cooper contract. So the biggest thing is has Amari Cooper put himself in a situation to deserve a cut or trade? To be honest with you, no. And I think that's a pretty obvious thing. I get it that we have the conversations of, well, he disappears in the big games. I don't think it's that he disappears. I think the problem is you have a guy with your the offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore that refuses to give someone so many targets, or rather, give a playmaker like him the ball. He's gone out and said it. And then Amari Cooper talks about, hey, we need to be calling these types of plays because that is where you're going to win football games. And we have seen it. When you give the ball to Amari Cooper, this offense hums. And I think cutting him or trading him would be a disaster, considering you do not have a contingency plan in place. What are you going to do? Go out in free agency and sign a guy that's worse than him? What are you going to do? Go into the draft, get a nice pick in at 24 or at 56, and then you kind of bank on him being better. No, that's not going to work, ladies and gentlemen. You have 4 receivers set to hit free agency. You expect that if you bring back Michael Gallup, if you bring back maybe Cedric Wilson, if you're lucky to get 2 of those guys, now you're just resorting back to a pre-2018 offense that at least you have CeeDee Lamb as a insurance policy, and I think that the narrative that I've seen him emerge as a number 1 guy. We saw that this year, where in many games he made pretty a lot of plays. But the biggest thing is again, this harpens back to your offensive coordinator. We could talk about the quarterback, but again, I want to stress this. It's the offensive coordinator that determines who is the primary guy on a play, who has to do what. That's on your offensive coordinator, and whether you like it or not, it's not Dak's fault that the offense is run a certain way. If you want to talk about how Dak delivers the ball is a completely other discussion, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Amari and the Cowboys organization. If you trade Amari Cooper, that's a bit more to stomach. And the reason I say that is because at least you're getting something of value back. And now you have a little bit more wiggle room to do things in the draft to keep building this team. Another problem, if you cut him, now you get nothing in return. Now you're back to square one, and now you're kind of, you're pretty much screwed. Now you're kind of saying to yourself, look, I'll say it this way. A trade release or whatever the case may be, if Amari Cooper is not on this team going forward, now you're kind of signaling this is a rebuild year. We need to retool the roster from top down, and, you have a quarterback because now you kind of go to this. So the quarterback has 3 more years on his contract. You kind of have a 3-year window to determine what you want to do there, or rather, you can re-sign him. Even if you do re-sign him, I'm a big proponent on this. If you feel that the current team right now is not sufficient to win a championship, just blow up the whole damn thing and go start from scratch, or rather, just do a soft reboot more specifically. But if you do feel that the window is there, which it is, the Cowboys have a window there. The problem is that they are refusing to take advantage of it. The Cowboys really could go all in this year, but I don't think this is the all in year. I think the all in year would be like this. You take the next 2 seasons to build up this roster as best as you can. That 3rd year, you restructure everybody, you go buy free agents, and you push all your chips into the front of the table, and you go from there. I just don't understand the Cowboys' inability to get this. I know it's because the Stephen Joneses of the world think that they can penny pinch. You can't in this instance. You cannot penny pinch. So Amari Cooper getting traded. So PFF talked about, okay, if you trade Amari Cooper for a 2nd and 5th round pick this year, so let's assume that's pick 33 and a 5th round pick. So doing a 2-round mock draft. So what I did was I got Kenyon Green in the 1st round. 2nd round, I got Jaquan Brisker, the safety from Penn State. And then you're in a situation to where, it really comes down to who's on the board at that point, as I'm kind of going back through my notes just to remind myself on who I selected. And then I went with John Mechie III. I'm really high on Mechie primarily because he gives you a speed element, and really you're kind of getting a second CeeDee Lamb. Whether he's better than him or not yet, I can't really say. I would say that he's not as of right now, but it depends on how he translates to the league and how, the injury looks. Look, the fact is that you're going to need to take a receiver in days 1 or 2. And, I think that if that's the draft, if my draft is Green, Brisker, and Mechie III, I think that's a solid haul. And for me, I like that. I like, that kind of gives me reassurance that, okay, I'm satisfied with where we're at. But if you don't get it, now you're like, well, you could still get John Mechie in the 2nd round. His stock hasn't moved around. But now you're kind of like, okay, well, do we double down on receiver? What do we do? The fact is that the Dallas Cowboys have been very good at drafting, but they still haven't managed the free agency period. If it were up to me, you go get someone in free agency or bring someone back, and then you kind of go from there, because this Amari Cooper situation's a headache as is, and I don't want to just, get super, super frustrated with something that hasn't happened yet. But Amari Cooper being traded would be one of the worst things that could happen as of right now, because, again, now you're just telling me that you don't really care about winning. You're just kind of like, I don't know if we need, even if Amari Cooper was not on this team, this team should win 8 games maybe, but it really comes down to now, if he's gone, now you're kind of looking at, your number 1 guy is gone. Now you're kind of like, now what do we do? How do we replace him? And that's the problem. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it here. The Cowboys are sort of losing their grasp on, how confident I am going further and further into the year about the future. And it's just getting infuriating. I'm not going to waste my time if the Cowboys are going to repeat this cycle, especially if we go into next year and you can't even win this division with how easy your schedule is next year. I don't want to sit here. I'm going to just say this. You got 3 years to get this crap figured out. Because, if you can't win with the quarterback you have now, which, like, I've seen a lot of people claim he's top 10. If you can't win with him, if you can't win with the rosters that you construct, a guy like Micah Parsons, it's no time. It's a waste of time. If you're going to continue doing the same thing and act like it's going to work, it's not worth waiting. And that's not me trying to project or anything like that. That's just me being honest. Is like a lot of us fans will start to check out. Yeah, we'll watch the team, but like how we put our liking to the team will be changed. And I've already had I've already shared my opinions on this, and I feel like I don't want to be Mr. Doom and Gloom guy, but at the same time, we have to understand that there is a sense of realism. Like, listen, I ain't trying to go into this bullshit year trying to hype up a team that ain't going to do shit. That's just my honest opinion. I don't have a problem if you do that, honestly. Like, it's just, I'm not one to bullshit you. If the team's going to suck, I'm going to tell you the team's going to suck. But I've already did my early thing. I think that this team, as currently constructed, will win the East next year. But if they don't, now we're having and now you're going into the following year with okay, is Mike McCarthy gone? And honestly, Mike McCarthy's probably gone next year, especially if you don't make the playoffs. And I think that that's the territory you don't want to get into, because now you're getting into every 3 years you're firing a coach, which, again, like, I don't have a problem with if it's justifiable, but if we make the playoffs and win the division next year and we manage to get past the divisional round, there's no reason you should fire Mike McCarthy. Even if you just win a playoff game, that's still not a fireable offense, but I think, again, context is everything. A lot of people still have that playoff game in their mouths, and I moved on from that 3 days after the game, but again, guys, this is getting ridiculous. We kind of have to keep an eye. Look, that's just the fact of the matter. If Amari Cooper's gone and you don't do anything to replace him, or rather you're just going to keep doing this rope-a-dope shit with fans, we're going to check out. So I don't want to keep you guys waiting for too long. By all means, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.